Welcome to Season 3 of the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm your host, Maren, and this podcast features and celebrates the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area of Michigan. It's time for the 2026 Outdoor Track and Field Season Preview. The statistics used to write the season preview include BWAC, MAC, and Catholic High School League results, Blue Water area meets such as the Marysville Invitational, Muskrat Invitational, Blue Water Meet of Champions, Thumb Meet, and Macomb County Meet, and of course, regional and state finals. The top 10 area performance lists for each event also played a driving role in making predictions. Here's a couple of notes about the process. Consistency is key. When reviewing many performances over a months-long season, there had to be consistent participation and placement throughout that period to gauge performance and potential for improvement. I didn't include freshmen or last year's 8th graders because they may end up participating in a different spring sport or not come out for track and field in high school. I also did not preview relay events. Due to graduated athletes and relay leg changes, it's really difficult to predict relay team members and the times they'll run. In most cases, PBs, personal bests, or PRs, personal records, from last year's meets that were hand-timed won't be used for the preview, nor will I end up using them for top times and marks lists this season. When you see a PB for everyone across the board by a huge margin, especially in a sprint event, that's usually a sign that the times are somewhat inaccurate. And with the requirement of fat timing for state meet qualification, it's just a more reliable standard. Early qualifying marks, or EQs, are in effect for a second year. Athletes can meet a state meet qualifying mark before the regional. An EQ is defined by the MHSAA as an athlete who achieves the mark in any round of a valid pre-qualified event, which meets the proper standards, fat-timed and 6+ teams, and is qualified to participate in the Lower Peninsula Finals in that event. An automatic qualifier, or AQ, is the standard needed to run at the regional meet outside of a top 2 automatic finish. Finally, I'm sure to miss someone who definitely deserves a nod or mention. With such a large amount of data across a long period, it's inevitable. I cross-check and reference and scour athletic.net repeatedly, but I sometimes miss something, and I am apologizing in advance if I mispronounce or misspell your name or incorrectly type a time or mark. All right, let's get into the season ahead. We're going to start out with the sprints. Valencia Price of Port Huron High sat at the top of the area top times list in the 100 with a 12.54 best, the 200 in 26.44, and the 400 in 59.12. She was the Blue Water Meet of Champions MVP, winning 4 events there. She also qualified for the D1 state finals in the long jump by finishing as the regional runner-up. She had a jump of 17 feet, 1.25 inches. Her indoor 200 for Motor City Track Club came close to her outdoor personal best, and then she ran cross country for the first time last fall. So she looks to return for her senior season with strength and experience. And her 400 personal best currently stands at the number 4 fastest all-time race in the Blue Water area. Ava Lovett of Richmond was a freshman last year, and she came into the BWAC with a solid season. She won the BWAC championship in the 100 with a 13.09 time, and then she finished second in the 200 in 27.29. She made a really big statement in the 400. I personally think that's her best event. She sits at number 3 in the area with a 60.58 best, and then she finished second only to Valencia Price at the Blue Water Meet of Champions, and then she ended up taking third at regionals. She played a pretty significant role in helping the Blue Devils drop their 4x1 relay time from 63 seconds to 55 seconds over the course of last season. Penelope McNutt from North Branch was at the top of each of the area sprint lists as well. She was regional runner-up. She earned a state qualification in the 100 with a 13.15 PR. And then as a 200 PR, she has 26.59. And she also anchored the Broncos 4x1 relay to the BWAC and Thumb Meet of Champs titles. It would be really interesting if she would, try out the 400. I'd be really interested to see how she could do in that. Jenna Dobbs of Algonac was another speedy freshman in 2025. She had bests of 13.34 and 27.34 in the 100-200 duel, but she found her niche in the 400. She won half of the races she entered, and then she qualified with an automatic time at regionals to earn her first trip to the D3 state finals, and she finished 29th with a best of 61.26 seconds. She did even jump into the 800 once and ran a pretty respectable 243. If she can drop under 60 seconds, she has a legitimate shot at an all-state finish. And she also had a season of cross-country under her belt. She has an elite competitive gymnast career, so her sophomore year will be one to watch, and especially considering this is the last season that we will see Algonac competing in the BWAC as they're moving to the MAC in the fall. Morgan Pylan of Port Huron Northern, she's a sophomore as well. So as a freshman last year, she was the 4x4 relay anchor. She won the Lapeer Lightning Invitational in the open 400-meter dash. She was third in the 400 at the Blue Water Meet of Champions in 61.1. And she also ran the 800 several times and has a best of 2:33. Allison Mansfield of Armada, she ended her outdoor season with a personal best of 13.56 in the 100, 27.94 in the 200, and then 62.4 in the 400. But she's run a pretty solid season of indoor track for 16 Ways Track Club. She's made some pretty significant improvements. Her open 400 is now at 61.09, and she also helped her 4x4 relay to a 4:05 third place MITS champ finish. And then they ultimately ran close to that at Nike Nationals in New York City to take 14th. Christina Semyon of Armada was fighting an injury most of the last outdoor season, but she stepped up at the end of the year, helped the Armada 4x4 make the state finals by taking second at their regional. She has since competed all winter in indoor track, and then she's dropped her 400 best to a 60.5 and also ran as part of that 16 Ways 4x4 that ran a 4:05. Kira Miller of Croslex has personal best of 13.28 in the 100, 27.2 in the 200. She won the Marysville Invitational in the 200-meter dash and then several league jamborees in the 100. And she was ultimately fourth in both at the BWAC League Championship. She also made the 200-meter dash final, those top 8 qualifiers at regionals. A couple other athletes to keep an eye on: Ayanna Brown of Anchor Bay, Liana Mortoni of MLN, that's Macomb Lutheran North, Elizabeth Stanfield of Croslex, and Gianna Gashage of Cardinal Mooney. Moving into the mid-distance and distance events, we have Samantha Whitlam from Macomb Lutheran North. She was voted the Blue Water Area Cross Country Runner of the Year for the fall of 2025, and she just keeps getting better. She topped the area list with a 2:22 800 personal best last season. She's already gone 2:17 indoors. She dropped 10 seconds off her indoor 1600. She ran a 5:16 over the winter season for 16 Ways Track Club. If she can run 2:17 in the 800 outdoors, she would end up as one of the top 5 fastest 800 runners in Blue Water history, all time. Whitlam has never run the 1600 outdoors, so it'll be interesting to see what events she chooses. And then she also has a lot of leg speed. She was part of the third place 4x4 relay that we mentioned earlier at the MITS Indoor State Meet, and then went on to Nike Nationals. Alana Wessel of MAC, that's the Macomb Area Club for Homeschoolers. She had the area's fastest 1600 last year in 5:10, but she got really close to that sub 5 by running 5:02. She took 8th at the MITS Indoor Championship on March 1st. That time would put her as the 5th fastest 1600-meter runner in our area to date. And if she can match it outdoors, she is also the 3rd fastest all-time in the mile. The full mile isn't really run that often, but indoors we see it more frequently. Wessel also set personal bests in the 800. She ran a 2:19, 3,200, 11:20 during the indoor season. Now, as a homeschooled athlete, she can't compete at regionals or get a state meet qualification outdoors, but if she could, she would certainly be chasing an all-state finish. Sage Cole of Yale. Sage cemented herself as probably one of the area's top runners during track, and then came in the fall and was the area's most improved runner during cross country. She ran her first sub 20-minute 5K at the state finals. She was the top BWAC girls finisher in the D2 race at the state meet and has that personal best of 19:38. So taking that into track, she looks to continue the success she had last year as a freshman into her sophomore season. She was the 400-meter BWAC champ. She set a freshman record for Yale High School at 60.17. She was the regional runner-up, who was Layla Jordan, the eventual state champion in the 800, and then also the top 9th grader to run that event as far as finish at the D2 state meet. She finished 25th. She's been on the cusp of a sub 60 400 for quite some time. She also ran 2:27 for the 800, 5:26 for the 1600, and those are the 2 fastest returning BWAC times after graduated seniors are discounted. And she won the Blue Water Meet of Champions in the 1600. Samantha Langolf of Port Huron Northern, she had a sensational cross-country season as well. She dropped into the sub 19-minute range quite a few times, and then with bests of 2:29 in the 800, 5:26 in the 1600, and 11:46 in the 3200, which is the second fastest area time, I'd watch for her to translate that fall distance into new track personal bests in the spring. We may see her name move into the top 10 all-time area list in the 3200. She's close. She just needs an 11:31 to do so. Taylor Stanzik of Almont, she won her D3 regional last year in the 1600. She finished second in the BWAC with a personal best of 5:34 and third in the BWAC 800 behind two now graduated seniors. And then she was second at the Blue Water Meet of Champions in the 800 with 2:28. She also was part of the Raiders state qualifying 4x8 relay. And with her huge fall PR in cross country, that bodes well for her distance track times. A couple other athletes to keep an eye on, Kara Pusekovich of Dryden and Cassidy Bowers of Austin Catholic were both D4 All-State in cross country, and I think that's going to play a role in track improvements for them. Layla Evola of Almont has a 1600 best of 5:44. And then Madeline Barkley of Croslex is the top returning BWAC finisher in the 3200 with a PR of 12:58. And she also had a really solid cross-country season as well. All right, let's talk hurdles. Sadie Dykstra of Yale. Where do we even begin with Sadie? She realistically could be a contender in any event on the track or field. She's so exceptional. Her athleticism is unmatched. She's a University of Michigan track commit. She originally specialized in the hurdle events. She won her first state championship in the 300 hurdles as a sophomore, along with a long jump title. And over the last year, she's branched out into the high jump, earning all-state honors in her first year, jumping 5.5. Now, with an All-American heptathlon finish at the 2025 Nike Outdoor Meet, she has shown that her incredible versatility across multiple disciplines is her strength. She has bests of 26.27 in the 200, 59.88 in the 400, 226 in the 800, 15.08 in the 100 hurdles, 45 flat in the 300 hurdles, 18 feet, 2.75 inches in the long jump, and she's helped her 4x4 relay go sub 4 for an all-state finish as well. So it's hard to say what she will focus on primarily this season. Will she continue to do a multi-event approach aligned with her heptathlon goals for the future? Will she focus on something specific? But if you see her on the start line, it is a safe bet that she will be a factor. Mariah Turner of Port Huron High. So she was the MAC Gold champion in the hundreds, 16.59 personal best. She edged closer to the AQ of 15.5. She also won 4 over 7 races in the 300 hurdles with a best of 50.04. Because she is a Division I athlete, she'll need a top 2 finish at regionals or an automatic qualifier of 46.80 to get that state meet qualification. Allie Markle of Marine City, she dipped well below the sub 50 mark in the 300 hurdles. She ran her best of 48.9 behind Dykstra at last year's Marysville Invitational. She also earned a trip to the D3 state finals with her runner-up finish at regionals in both of those events. And then her personal best in the hundreds is a 16.86. So I would look for her to close out her senior season with some more improvement there. Kayla Fitchett of Dryden, she found her groove in the 300s last year. She ran a sub 50 with a personal best of 49.67. She took second in her D4 regional. She was 18th in the state. And if she can improve to 1 second faster, she would be in the running for a top 8 all-state finish with that time. Madison Starnes of Richmond, she was just a freshman last year. She won several league jamborees. She finished 4th at regionals in the 300 hurdles with a personal best of 52.9. And Addison Cruciano of Port Huron Northern, she broke 17 seconds in the 100 hurdles. Her best is a 16.83, and she was number 3 on the area list for the season last year, and also has a best of 51.2 in the 300s. All right, let's take a look at the throws. So we have Aubrey Deshutsky of North Branch, obviously the current undisputed queen of the throws in our area. She sits at number 2 all time in both discus and shot put. She was undefeated outdoors in the shot put until she claimed that state runner-up finish. She threw 42 feet. She was also all-state in the discus, and she took 3rd in 132 feet, 8 inches, was second only once the entire season in that event too.
She was the league champ, regional champ, won the Blue Water Meet of Champions, was the thumb champs, double winner. She won both events. Deshetsky is also one of the favorites to win both of them at the state meet this season. She's a really versatile athlete as well. She can run well in sprint events, all the way from the 100-meter up to the 800, which she's done a couple times. She also added high jump to her repertoire this year. Katie Gill of North Branch, she won the Blue Water Meet of Champions and was third at the thumb champs in the discus. She threw a big PR of 119 feet, 7 inches. She had 6 runner-up finishes in various invitationals and dual meets. She's only a few inches off the discus state meet early qualifier mark of 120 feet, and her shot put best is 32 feet, 3 inches. Caitlin Welter of Croslex has best of 32 feet, 6 inches in the shot and 106.6 in the discus. She won 2 dual meets in the BWAC discus, and she had several runner-up finishes in the shot put. Riley Agee of Armada, she's steadily improved over the last 2 years. She's entering her junior year as the BWAC and Blue Water Meet of Champions runner-up in the shot put, and she's thrown 34 feet, 3 inches. And with improvement of a few inches at regionals, that could potentially get her into that state qualifying territory. Bree Rule of Croslex was the only freshman last year to take third behind Deshetsky and Agee in the shot put finals at the BWAC champs. And then the Blue Water Meet of Champs, she also was third. And her personal best is 33 feet, 10 inches. And she threw close to 100 feet at the Reese Invite in the discus early on in the season. Adriana Rule of Croslex, also a freshman last year. She was 4th at regionals in the shot put with a throw of 33 feet, 0.45 inches, and she was the top placing 9th grader. She also has a season best of 33.8 in the shot put. With 5 season disc victories and another in the shot, Ava Klink of KPAC has a discus personal best of 103 feet, which is well beyond the needed distance to qualify for states, only a few feet from an early qualifying mark. So with a new personal best or her best throw at regionals, she is a contender for a D4 state qualification. As mentioned previously, Sadie Dykstra tried the high jump for the first time in 2025 and then won the BWAC championship, earned all state honors at the state meet by placing 5th, and she eventually ended the year with a personal best of 5 feet, 5 inches. Valeria Ricosa of Armada won every BWAC dual meet, the Lapeer Lightning Invitational, the Marysville Invitational, and then she was the D2 regional champ at North Branch. She has a personal best of 5'2". Autumn Pratt of Macomb Lutheran North was the Blue Devil Invitational winner, the Catholic High School League champ, and has a personal best of 5 feet. Natalie Valentine of North Branch was just a freshman last year, and she jumped 5 feet to take second at the North Branch Invitational. Once again, mentioned is Aubrey Deshetsky of North Branch. Due to the 4-event meet limit, she doesn't always high jump, but when she does, she's in the mix for the win, and she took second to Dykstra at the BWAC champs with a 5-foot best. Grace Askew of St. Clair has a personal best of 4 feet, 10 inches. She won the majority of the MAC Gold meets, including the championship, and looks to improve upon her 4th place regional finish last year to potentially earn a state meet qualification this year. Jessica Probst of Macomb Lutheran North jumped her best at regionals. She finished 3rd in 4 feet, 9 inches, just outside of the top 2 qualifiers. She needed a 5-1 to automatically qualify at the regional meet. Sophia Clark of Algonac was a freshman last year in her first year of high jump, and she was 4th in the BWAC with a best of 4.6. In the long jump, it is Sadie Dykstra again, undefeated all season until the state meet. She was the 2024 state champion. She has a best of 18 feet, 2 inches. Dykstra is number 2 all-time in her area in the long jump, and she's less than 2 inches from being number 1. Valencia Price has a best of 17 feet, 1.25 inches. That jump earned her 2nd place in her D1 regional last spring, and she has already long jumped several times over the winter during indoor track. Samantha Whitlam of Macomb Lutheran North. Now, usually sprinters are seen in the field events more so than a mid-distance runner, but she won the regional meet in the long jump, leaping a huge best of 16 feet, 9.5 inches. That's only a half inch off of this year's D2 early qualifying mark. Allie Markle of Marine City, she earned a state berth in the long jump by taking 2nd at her D3 regional in 15 feet, but she has a best of 15 feet, 7.5 inches. Ava Lovett of Richmond, as I mentioned, was a freshman last year. She was 4th in the BWAC, but she won the Blue Devil Invitational with her season best jump of 15 feet, 1.75 inches. Alexa Gardner of Algonac, if she can start the season with a jump as far as she did last year as a freshman, which was 14 feet, 9.25 inches, she would be a contender to move into one of the top 3 BWAC jumpers. In pole vault, Autumn Pratt of Macomb Lutheran North was first or second in every competition of her 2025 season until regionals, where a really close tie in third place finish just left her out of the state qualifiers. She did vault the same height as second place at 8 feet, but it came down to ties. So with a best of 9 feet, she was second overall in Macomb County and is probably the top pole vault returner. Madison Starnes of Richmond had an 8-foot vault at regionals. She made her first season great by securing a state meet qualifying second place finish as a freshman. Her best all season stood at 8 feet, 3 inches. Emma Pitzel of Anchor Bay was second in the MAC Red, fourth in Macomb County with a personal best of 8 feet, 6 inches. Kendall Donahue of Imlay City. She's a pole vault specialist. She solely competes in this event. That's just all she does. She vaulted 8 feet, 6 inches to take second in the BWAC behind now graduated Madison Niedermeyer, who pretty much dominated the league. So it really looks like it's going to be Donahue's turn to take over that top spot. Lydia Stockwell of St. Clair, she finished just outside the top 2 at regionals last year as a freshman. She was third in a tie with Autumn Pratt. Her best stands at 8 feet, and she's only a sophomore, so look for big vaults to come from her. I can't wait to get back out there and see all of you running, jumping, and throwing. You can find results and articles on bluewaterrunning.org and our social media sites through the season. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also check out photo albums of meets that will be linked through the website and download and share them to help spread the word about Blue Water Running's mission, which is to feature and celebrate the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from our area. If you're interested in sponsoring coverage or partnering with Blue Water Running as an advertiser to reach and support local athletes, please reach out via our website or social media channels.